What's up guys, Visual here, but you can call me James, and welcome to the first episode of GFX podcast. In this video, I'm going to be discussing how to brand yourself as a graphic designer. Okay, if you aren't familiar with how a podcast does work, basically it's just going to be me speaking for around about 10 minutes or so, and I'm literally going to be speaking. That's it. There's no video whatsoever, so you guys can go ahead, minimize this tab, whatever you want to do. Just make sure you listen in, because I'm going to be going into lots of detail on how to brand yourself as a graphic designer. So I've got 4 points noted down that I'm going to go through, 4 main categories, and yeah, hopefully this will help you guys if you need to brand yourself. I have a lot of experience with it. Of course, my brand VisualArts, you've got the logo there, you've got the good name, the branding colors, the website, everything I can explain to you guys. So yeah, sit back, relax, and let's get started. Okay, so the first point I have written down here is the name. So your name is probably the most important aspect of your brand. So first of all, you need to make sure you have an appropriate name. You don't want any name that has numbers in it. You don't want any name with capitalized, non-capitalized. You're not a little MW2 trickshot clan. You are a professional graphic designer. So you need to make sure you have, of course, like the start of your name capitalized and all the other letters normal, because yeah, you just want an appropriate name. Basically, you need to be as professional as possible to your clients. And if you have a name like XX Design Boy 69, that's just not going to be appropriate. So you want to make sure it is as professional as possible. So if you want to go the really professional route, then you can use your real name. So it does depend what sort of community you are in. Of course, me and a lot of you may be in the YouTube community. That way, I recommend using an alias, so a name that you make up, for example, VisualArts. But if you are going for the much more professional route, you're going to be designing for like local businesses and stuff like that, then make sure to use your real name, because that's going to help you in the long run, just branding yourself off your name. So the next point I've got written down is making sure that you have a name that people will remember. You don't want any long name. Also, what does help is if you have maybe like arts or graphics at the end of your name. That way people know what you do instantly. When they see my YouTube channel, they see VisualArts, they think, oh, that's probably a graphic design YouTube channel, because the word arts is in there. Also, visual is kind of like related to it. So make sure you pick your name wisely. Make sure you don't add something overused at the end. Designs is like the most overused like name on the alias. So don't do like John Designs or something. You want an alias that people will remember, something creative at the same time though. So maybe like Visual Graphics, that would be a good creative name. Don't steal that one though, because it's a bit too similar to mine. Also, what you want to do is make sure that your name is easy to spell, okay? Because it will be the worst if someone, like, for example, sees your channel and then a couple of weeks later they want a design and they literally just can't remember the name of your channel because it's something like I don't know, something really long, something complex. If you have a basic sort of short, clean name, people will remember that, and that way you're overall going to get more clients, because people actually do remember your name. They can go back to you for more work, they don't forget it. Okay, so the next point we have here is your logo. Now, being a graphic designer, your logo is just as important as your name, to be honest. Well, okay, so the next point I have here is your logo. Now, your logo is very important. Being a graphic designer is probably almost as important as your name, because this is going to be the first thing that people see, as well as your name. When they go onto your Twitter, they see your AVI, they see your header with it on, whatever it is. It needs to be good, basically, because you are a graphic designer. Even if you don't specialize in logos, I will go into detail on that, but it needs to be good, because being a graphic designer, as I said before, you need to make sure that all of your work is top notch, especially like your own branding. So as for logos, if you are bad at logos at all, you can either hit me up, and I'm joking, but I'm not the best at logos. Maybe find someone that on Twitter that is really good, because as I said before, logos are really important. You want one that's really creative, really original. I'm only really good at like text and letter logos, but when it comes to more complicated stuff, I'm not very good at, and I'd have to hire a logo designer for myself, someone that actually does specialize in logo designs. Also, one tip I'd give you, make sure that your logo is not off Google Images. The amount of times I see a designer and his name's like Gary Arts or something like that, and you search G logo on Google and you literally instantly find it, make sure you're not that guy, okay, because you will be exposed. And yeah, as I said before, make sure you have a simple but not complex logo. I see a lot of people that have really complex logos that have, like, I don't know, animals in it and stuff. I would recommend either like a text logo or a symbol logo if your name does work with that. If you have a sort of basic name, say for example, I'm trying to think of one, I don't know, Gary Arts, we'll use that example again. If your name's Gary Arts, use a G logo because there's not really any symbols you can use for the word Gary. But yeah, that's what I would recommend for the logo. Just make sure it's simple, not too complex, and it's unique and not off Google basically. Okay, so that is it for the second point. Now moving on to the third point, branding colors. So by this I mean the colors that you brand yourself off. You want to make sure that you use those colors on, say for example, your website, your Twitter, your YouTube. You want to keep those colors. Now the color I use is kind of broad, it's literally just red, and I have that on my website, I have that on my Twitter, I have that on like all of my social medias. I use the color red. Now you guys can go more into detail. You can like choose 2 color palettes. That looks really nice. I know a lot of designers that do that, or just choose like a really original color, so like maybe a goldish color, maybe like a dark green. Mine is very broad, as I said before, it's literally just red, not dark red, not light red. But yeah, make sure you have your own branding colors that you use. You can use it on your Twitter and of course your YouTube, your website, whatever it is. Just make sure you stick to the same colors, and also people will remember your brand easier if you do this. So for example, if they see your logo and they see it with that color, they will remember you, and it's just a way really of branding yourself. There's not really much else to say. Just make sure you use a color that, I don't know, not too many people have. I can't really say that because everyone uses red. Okay, so the fourth point I would like to make is having a website. Now this is like the last step. Once you've got your name sorted, once you got your logo and your branding colors, you are ready to create yourself a website. Now I'm not saying it has to be HTML because I don't know anything about that. I'm just saying use a simple website builder. So for example, Wix, Weebly, Portfolio Box, there's so many out there. Just make sure it's one that you can get your own domain or link your own domain, because that way it's just going to be way more like professional for your clients. Because if you have a domain, I'm going to use this example again, if you have a domain like garyarts.carbonmade.net, something like that is really not appropriate. You want to make sure that you have your own domain. So for example, garyarts.com, that's way more professional, and it's just going to look better for your clients. As well as that, you can add more stuff onto your website. I know a lot of people just have portfolios, but you can only add your images on there. On a website you can add your prices, which is going to make it a lot easier, because when someone asks how much is a banner, you can literally just link them your website. You have your past work on there, you can have an about me section, a contact me section, and it's just going to look really professional. Some tips I recommend though when you do have your website is only show your best work. You don't want to add all of your like client work on there, it's just going to be way too much, so only add your best work on there. Also include your branding on the site. So before, like I said, your branding colors, say for example you chose gold, make sure to make your website black and gold, for example. That way it will just relate to your branding colors, your logo, name, everything like that, and it just looks really clean like that. As well as this, you want to make sure that you are consistent with your font choice. You don't want to have a website that has about 8 different fonts on it. That's not going to look professional either. And yeah, that's all I really need to say about your website. Just build one with Wix, whatever you want, and it's going to be way more professional than using just a plain old portfoliobox.net.carbonmade. Those don't look any good. So yeah, just take my advice with that. And that's really it for the podcast. I do apologize. I know I had some cuts throughout the podcast. As well as that, I know it wasn't too long. I don't want to bore you guys with loads of information, and I'm sorry if I messed up some parts. This is my first podcast I've ever done. I know I've live streamed before, but that's a bit different. So give me a break in the comments. This will get better as the series does go on, and make sure to go ahead and comment down below what you want me to cover for the next episode. And yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy. This has been Visual or James, and I'm out. Peace.